Every now and then an album comes out that makes me so glad that I'm a fan of prog, that I'm a fan of music in general, that I'm glad to be alive just listening to it. And today we are talking about Kaprekar's Constant and their amazing new album, The Murder Wall. It's their third album. It follows 2017's debut, Fade Outsmarts Desire, and then their sophomore release came out in 2019, Depth of Field. They're both really good. Both of those albums had epic songs that kind of anchored what they were doing. Here they're taking a whole different approach. There's no epics. There are 17 songs on this thing. They kind of flow together. There is a lot of crossfading going on, so some of the songs do link up, so, But let's talk a little bit about who these guys are. They were formed by a couple of childhood friends, Al Nicholson and Nick Jefferson. They're the two songwriters in the band. The songs are so good. I don't know who's responsible for the music and who's responsible for the lyrics, but whoever's writing the lyrics needs special attention here, because the lyrics on this album are just moving. They're emotional. They're telling 6 different stories of 6 different attempts to climb the summit of the Eiger, the North Face, which I guess in German is a play on words. North Face and the Murder Wall, they sound the same. So that's the story behind this thing. And Al and Nick are joined by Bill Jefferson on vocals, Mark Walker on drums, and Mike Westergaard on keyboards. But when you're talking about the lineup of Kaprekar's Constant, you really need to talk about the great David Jackson from Vandergraaf Generator. He's on sax, he's on flute, he's playing the whistles. He's been on all 3 of their albums, but on this album, he has become a real important part of this band. In fact, I don't want ever to hear Kaprekar's Constant without David Jackson. I don't want to hear anybody but him in this band. He is so integral to what they're doing now, but it's not just him. He's got his daughter singing all over this album too, so it's a father-daughter thing, and it's just amazing. Dory's voice is really sweet and bright. There is a guest female vocalist on this album. Judy Zook appears, and her voice is much smokier and deeper, a little darker. If you don't know who she is, look her up. She had a big hit in 1979. But like I said, there's 17 songs on this album, but it flows so good. It begins with Prologue. It's one of the better songs on the album. It's up-tempo. It's got great themes that segues into an instrumental theme, Hall of Mirrors. This has got the main theme of the album, which is reprised at the end. So when that ending comes, the emotional impact is humongous. It's just fantastic. It's really, really great. The third song is called Tall Tales by Firelight. This starts out with a little acoustic guitar, and then there's some weird whistles and pipes that David Jackson's doing in the background. It's really, really cool. I like that song a lot. One thing that's really cool is that the verses just keep going, verse, 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 and then 3/4 of the way through, we finally get the chorus, and it's amazing. The payoff is absolutely great. Failure Takes Care of Itself is next. It's a little thing in 6/8, but the chord progressions are great. The writing here is so cool. There's so many replacement chords that these very simple sounding songs are actually really complicated when you break down what's going on harmonically. I really like it. Next up is Another Man's Smile. I love this track. It starts out like a jangle pop song, but when that chorus hits, man, I just want to see these guys live. I could see everybody singing along to it. It's just awesome. Victorious was one of the singles. There's been 2 singles so far. I'm going to put a link to both of them in the description, so you can, if you haven't heard these guys, you can kind of give them a spin, see what you think. But Victorious is where they finally climb the mountain. They get to the summit, blah, blah, blah. It's rousing. It's exciting. It's a lot of fun. Then the album tells the stories of other attempts to climb the summit, a father-son team that attempts, and the dad dies, and the son goes back and tries to climb the mountain again, etc., etc. There's like 6 or 7 different expeditions that are on display here, and that's what's kind of cool, is the whole idea of daring do and adventure and honor and the idea that mountaineering and scaling these summits was such a political thing. You got to look at the time frame here. A lot of this action takes place between the two world wars, so the propaganda value for all these nations is definitely a part of what's going on here, and they touch on that, and they are not unaware of it, and it makes for it's not just about adventure, not just about mountain climbing. It's about nationalism. It's about, how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your nation. It's just rousing. It's such a good idea for a concept album. And I said it again, it's a concept album. Anyway, the album goes through a bunch of stuff towards the end, but the payoff with mountaineering and then that Hall of Mirrors reprise, it is a come to Buddha moment, people. It really is. This album is every bit as good as their first two. In fact, it's even better than their first two. The way these guys write is just so natural. There's nothing super complicated going on here. It isn't like Big Train, even though they share some DNA where they're all like, virtuosos and they're all going off and doing this crazy stuff. You don't get a lot of that here. In fact, the only soloing you really get is David Jackson on sax primarily, but sometimes he solos a little on flute, and it even sounds like there's a piccolo in there somewhere. I don't know. But his tone, his choices of notes, man, oh man. I didn't know how much I needed saxophone in Prog. I love Van der Graaf, but, this past year, the new Flower Kings has got, Rob Townsend on it. Even JPL put a saxophone in his new album. I guess I'm becoming a fan of Prog with a sax. Thanks, David Jackson. You ruined me. But The Murder Wall is just a phenomenal album. It's everything I want from a Prog album. It's melodic, it's powerful, it's emotional, it keeps me coming back for more. The lyrics are intelligent and really, really, really well written. I mean, that might be the best part of this album. I'd read off some lyrics, but you just listen to them yourself. You can read, you don't need me telling you what it says. But Kaprekar is constant, people. If you don't know them, this is the album to check them out. And while you're at it, you can play the little game. Kaprekar is constant. What is it? I guess it's where you take 4 numbers and you line them up from biggest to smallest, and then smallest to biggest, and then you take the difference and you do that again, and at some point it will always go back to 6147, which is kind of cool. And that just makes me wonder, who the hell has that much time on their hands to figure that kind of stuff out? And what does it mean? I don't know. I don't care. It's a cool name for a band. They're an amazing band, and this record, you gotta hear it. I swear you do. That's why I did my hair all crazy, and that's why my face is all red. You need to hear this record, people. It's great. It's so good. It is really, really good. And I'm getting a little bit off here. I'm not really feeling like doing an album review today, to be honest with you. Clearly, I'm not in the right headspace. This thing will probably get deleted before I post it. We'll see. I don't care. You know how I am about this kind of stuff. I just do what I do and hope you freaks are cool with it. Yeah. That's Kaprekar's Constant. We're going to be looking at the new Kappa album next week. That's really good too. I might even do a Von Hertzen Brothers review because I'm really liking that. I don't know. You know how I am. I get lazy. I'd prefer watching YouTube videos than recording them half the time, but what can you do? Anyway, thank you all so very, very much. This is my plea to you. I need to get to 1,000 subscribers. It's up to you. You can do it for me. I can't do it myself. I need you to hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. Let's keep the Prog train running. Let's keep the revival going, people. You know you love Prog. You know you hate the fact that it's not as big as it used to be in the 70s. We can do something about that right now. We can turn the tide. We can make Prog great again. I'm even going to make a hat. Yeah. Make Prog great again. I love it. MP, I don't even know what those initials are. I guess it don't make sense. Anyway, Kaprekar's Constant, the Murder Wall. What's that score gonna be, huh? Let me think. You know what that score is gonna be. It's headphone approved. It's 5 headphones. It's perfect. It's really, really good. Honestly, this could be my album of the year at the end of the year. But, we'll have to see. It's only April. It's early, and you freaks know how it goes. Anyway, let's see if I'm going to delete this or post it. Yeah, I wish I could ask you guys right now, but I'm going to have to, go with my best judgment and hit that delete button probably. But anyway, I'm Scott from the Prog Corner. Thanks for stopping by. I love you freaks. Peace.